Here we are with our angle irons with the holes in them. I'm going to change these to center lines. So I'm going to click on all of these lines. I'm going to select all of these lines at once. And then I will go up to my layer thing and get my center line layer. By the way, speaking of layers, I made a new layer for myself just to be cool. I made a structural detail steel layer. You don't have to do that. I just wanted to. If you want to draw your steel on some other layer like a wall, that's okay. This is just what I did. Okay, so there are some center lines. Now I would like to trim this quickly. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to do my thing here. Hello, I'm going to do my thing where I just make a temporary line, some random line that I can trim to. I know this is not precise. Forgive me. If I wanted to be precise, what I sometimes do is I actually draw a bigger circle around each small circle and trim to that circle, but okay, and why I'm doing this is I'm going to go TR for trim, select cutting edges. I'm going to select my temporary lines as my cutting edges, enter, and then I'm going to do a right crossing window and select my center lines to trim. This can go wrong if you zoom the wrong way. And there. Okay, good. Now I can delete my temporary lines, and I've got some nice looking center lines. See that? Okay, I could now put these center lines up in my top view. You know what? I want to make sure that these really are 5.5 inches apart. So I think I will get the distance command, DI for distance, and just measure from here to here. I mean 5.5. Yeah, it is 5.5, so good. Yay. Now, how about this? How about I get on the center line layer, and I will draw a line from here up to here. I'm going to snag onto the end point of my center line, you see, and go up here. And now I will just grab that grip and move it up here. Maybe these lines are not a precise length. That's probably okay. They don't tell us what the gauge is. Something looks bad. Oh, I see. See how these angle irons are not lined up? Do you know why that is? Because this big beam over here has a thicker web than this little beam over here, which has a thinner web. So if you bolt these angles to these webs, they're not going to be totally lined up. Ha! We don't know what the gauge is front to back, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put center lines in approximately the middle here. I think I will go offset 1.5, and I will just offset 1.5 from here up and here down, and I will be cool and change these to center lines. So I'll select those lines and click on the center layer. And now I'll just move these lines over here and maybe shorten them up a little bit. Click on the grip and move it over. I grant you these look too long. Alright, fine. I will do a trimmy thing. I'll make a temporary line and a temporary line. I'll say trim, and I'll use this temporary line as my cutter, and I'll trim, 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 trim my two center lines, and now I can erase, E for erase, those two temporary cutters. Okay, there's that. What is happening? Now I think we want to do the cope, don't we? So according to this, the cope is going to be 6 inches to the side of the center line. Is that right? No, it's going to be 6 inches out from the web on each side. That means I probably don't need this center line in here anymore. I was saving that center line in order to make the cope, but apparently we don't need it. So I'll just erase it. All right, what are we doing? We're coping 6 inches out from the inside of the web on each side. So I will get an offset command, and I will offset a distance of 6, select the web offset, select the web offset, and now what I'm going to do to make this easy, I'm going to get the extend command, which is hiding under the trim command. See, there it is, extend, or you can type EX for extend. And I'm going to use, for my fence to extend to, I'm going to use the outside surfaces of the flanges. Enter. And now I'm going to click the end of the line that I want to extend. Okay, that is where my cope is going to land. We'll come back to that in just a second. And according to this, on the top of the beam, we'll cut down 1.25 inches. On the bottom of the beam, we'll cut up 1.25 inches on one side and 1.75 inches on the other side. Alrighty. Offset again. O for offset. 1.25. I'll offset that, I guess. I'll offset my beam. I'll offset my beam. And then I need another O for offset, so I'll just hit enter to bring up that command again. 1.75. That will be the offset for this big guy over here. Okay. Now, I think I will use, I could do this a bunch of different ways, but I think I will use extend, and I will use these two 6-inch lines as my fence to which to extend. And I'll click on the ends of the lines I want to extend. Let me see here. What am I doing? This one goes over here. Did I do something wrong? Yes. Extend. I'll use this as my fence to extend this thing. Oh, boo. That's the fence. That's the line to extend. Okay. So now I'm going to do trim, or TR for trim. select objects. Let me select my cope lines. So that things don't get too messy. So those are my cutters. All right. What I'm doing is I'm notching my beams. So now I can do trim, trim out the middle. And now I can do up at the top, I'll trim out those guys. See how I'm making a space there? There's some space so that they'll be able to fit up this beam when they bolt it in. Then down here, what the heck is happening? There's that. There's that. Anything else we need? Oh, and this cope here. Okay, and one more thing I need to trim out is this guy here. So I will do one more trim. I'll use this web as my cutter, enter, and I'll trim that one. There! Ooh, and one more trim. This time I'll just trim, enter, and trim that little thing out of there. Okay. Now, notice that it's the end of this beam is 1/2 inch back from the end of the angle iron assembly. Let me just say, if this were the real life and we were really working for a fabricator and getting serious, we would want to move this whole assembly a 1/16 of an inch away from the web. I'm going to ignore that. That's probably bad, but that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm going to offset 1/2 inch, offset 1/2 inch from each side of the web, and then I'm going to trim my angle iron, the end of the beam. Oh, sorry. All right. Now I've got to trim my beam out from behind this angle iron. So trim again, and I'll make the ends of my angle iron my cutters so that I can trim out the end of the beam here. There we go. Now I need to put a radius in this corner. If we leave this inside corner sharp, that will create a stress riser and these beams will crack immediately. So that is why we do a radius, and I will just try a radius of 1/2 inch and see if that works. Oops, sorry. Radius R. That was my mistake. 0.5. Okay. Okay, enter to bring it up again. 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 Okay, what else is happening? Oh, now I didn't finish trimming up the stuff in the top view, did I? Oh, something is bad here. I did something bad. I don't know what. Something is bad. I need to, sorry. I don't know what the heck is happening here, but it needs to stop. I don't know what that is. That is something funky right there. And erase that. This happens. Do not worry. And extend. There, all fixed up. Okay.